everyone, I'm Georgia and this is The Sound of Georgia. Now we all know Julie Andrews did Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella. I've talked about a fair bit in the past and I went and saw the stage version last year. And obviously Julie didn't just star in it, it was written for her by Rodgers and Hammerstein. But Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella was not the first time Julie played Cinderella. The first time she played Cinderella was 4 years before Rodgers and Hammerstein's version, and it was a pantomime version that ran at the London Palladium. Julie had done plenty of pantomimes when she was younger before. She did one where she was Little Red Riding Hood, and she did one where she was the egg in Humpty Dumpty. That was when her first husband Tony Walton actually saw her for the first time, which is kind of adorable. But performing at the London Palladium was as big as pantomimes got back then. At the time, Julie thought she had peaked, which of course was not even close to the truth, but we'll get back to that. It's hard to find a lot of details about this one. There are about 5 pages in total between these two books where it actually talked about Cinderella. So, not a whole lot to go off, but I've done my best. The person organising the production was Val Parnell. He had heard her sing years before, back when it was just at her parents' house. He'd actually shut her down once in the past, but towards the end of 1953 he offered her the role of Cinderella in the London Palladium production, which, as I said, was as big as pantomimes got. Eric Sykes and Spike Milligan were the ones who wrote the script, and Julie's co-stars included Max Bygraves, John Hearn, Joan Mann, John Pertwee, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, he went on to do Doctor Who, and Adele Dixon as the prince. So yes, that was a woman playing a man, because that's how pantomimes work back then. I don't know, is that how pantomimes still work? Are pantomimes even a thing anymore? Julie had actually met Max before, a few years earlier, when she was doing the radio show Educating Archie. Educating Archie was a radio show where she played the girlfriend of a ventriloquist dummy. Somehow it worked. As I said, at the time Julie felt she had peaked, and this was a serious thing. Like, there was a lot of work put into this one. One thing Julie remembers was the wedding dress. She said it was so enormous that she actually had to step into it as she walked on stage. It was so big that she couldn't actually walk on stage wearing it. Also, there were real ponies, which were adorable, but according to Julie, had the phenomenal talent of taking a dump on stage whenever I had friends in the audience. That's a direct quote from her memoir. So the show ran from the end of 1953 to April of 1954. So I guess you could almost say this is a bit of a Today in Julie Andrews history video. I mean, obviously it's not today, but it has been 70 years this year, so you decide. And then one day, Sandy Wilson and Vida Hope came to see the show. They thought Julie was amazing and offered her the leading role in their new show on Broadway. So, less than 12 months later, she's in New York doing The Boyfriend. And being in New York and doing that show was essentially what got her My Fair Lady, which was what got her Camelot, which was what got her Mary Poppins, which was what got her Sound of Music, which was what got her to being the biggest star in Hollywood. So, no, Julie, Cinderella at the London Palladium was not even close to peaking. Since so often in life one thing leads to another, which leads to another, etc, etc, honestly it's kind of hard to tell exactly when Julie's career totally skyrocketed. It's hard to say exactly what it was that got her on track to being the superstar that she became, because if she was well known enough to do this production of Cinderella, she was obviously well known for other things. So was Cinderella the big starting point for Julie to become the superstar she would be by the mid-1960s? It's hard to say, but if you told me you thought that's what it was, I'd believe you. And so that's everything for today. As I said at the beginning, there's very little information about this. It's almost impossible to find any details of how this specific version of Cinderella went in terms of a narrative, so we'll probably never know. But I hope you enjoyed this little thing. Stay safe, guys. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my video next time. So long, farewell!